video lecture kicks off our 6th unit in this class, during which we'll be focusing on the theme of love in music. Now, as you can imagine, love is an extremely popular topic in music. There are lots and lots and lots and lots of pieces about love, and we certainly cannot listen to every single love song that has ever existed. So what I've done is taken a diverse sampling of pieces of music that relate to love, and hopefully we're going to learn about music through the topic of love, but maybe we're also going to learn something about love through the topic of music. So we'll see if they go hand in hand with each other. And we're going to start off with a very old song. So the rest of this video lecture is going to be on our first composition for this theme on love and music. And that piece of music is Il Bianco e Dolce Cigno by Jacques Arcadelt. And this is in your textbook. This song is from the Renaissance era, which, as you may recall, is the era that happened before the Baroque era. Renaissance was from approximately 1450 to 1600, so it was right before the Baroque era. And this is the only piece of music that we're going to cover from the Renaissance, even though it was a wonderful era and there are many, many wonderful compositions. Now, of course, in the Renaissance era, there was music, just like there is now, and there was popular music, just like there is now. Like there was everyday music that people enjoyed listening to. Just nowadays, we have like rock or pop or R&B or whatever. Back then, they had, sort of popular music. They had their everyday music, and that music was called madrigals. M-A-D-R-I-G-A-L is madrigal. Madrigal was the popular composition of the Renaissance period, and composers loved writing madrigals, which were vocal compositions, so these are things that are sung, and madrigals would be about the same topics that pop songs are today. So in other words, lots of madrigals are about love, relationships. Madrigals could be about any kind of everyday, life, current events, politics, satire, humor. Madrigals cover the whole gamut. The one thing that madrigals would not be about would be religion. These are not religious compositions, and there was a pretty big divide between what was like religious and what was not. So madrigals were what we call the secular compositions. That's S-E-C-U-L-A-R. That's not a music word, that's just an everyday word meaning not religious. Madrigals were also going to be written in whatever language the people spoke, their everyday language, their vernacular, as opposed to church music, which would probably be in Latin, maybe in Greek. Madrigals were in Italian or French, and this particular madrigal is in Italian. So I'm going to read for you the words to the madrigal now. This is Il Bianco e Dolce Cigno, which translates to the white and sweet swan. Okay, so here are the words. The white and sweet swan dies singing, and I weeping come to the end of my life. Strange and different fate that it does disconsolate, and I die happy, a death that in dying fills me with joy and desire. If when I die no other pain I feel, with 1,000 deaths a day I would be content. Now I think you can see why I wanted to read these words. This sounds horrible, doesn't it? It sounds like it's about death, and it sounds like this person's happy to be dying. The words seem very strange, and certainly not about love. You might be wondering, why did she choose this one to talk about love in music? Well, you need to know something about madrigals and music in the Renaissance. So back during this time, if there was a subject matter that composers felt was maybe inappropriate to talk about, they would use innuendos and code words to talk about that topic. And that's what's going on in this. When madrigals talk about dying, they're actually talking about sex, and specifically orgasming during sex. So dying is like a code word for sex. And if you replace all those dying, all the death and dying in this with sex or orgasming, it makes a lot more sense. Like the white and sweet swan dies singing, and I weeping come to the end of my life. that it does disconsolate. I die happy. A death that in dying fills me with joy. You see that it makes a lot more sense. So this piece of music is not about death. It is about love, and specifically physical love. So this is our example of like carnal love, physical love, and it's kind of fun that it comes from a very old song. Now, talking about the music, if you were just to listen to this, it would sound very pleasant and very happy, and you'd have no idea about the words and what it all means. So having these words and understanding that code, it makes a big difference. One thing that composers did in madrigals is they would write music that matched whatever was being said in the words. And this is a technique called word painting. Okay, a little vocab for you. Word painting, which I think is kind of a nice vocabulary word. This idea that the music paints the words. The music matches what the words are doing. And so when you listen to this, for example, you'll hear that when the singers sing joy, that the music sounds joyous. So the actual notes and harmonies of the music itself is matching the words. And there's another great example that happens right at the end, and I'm going to play this for you. When the words say, with 1,000 deaths a day I would be content, the music starts repeating over and over again because of the word thousand, like it's happening again and again. And in Italian, 1,000 deaths is di mille morte. And so you're going to hear them, I'm going to play it for you right now. You're going to hear the singers saying over and over again, di mille morte, and they're matching the word 1,000 deaths. So you hear how they're repeating it because there was a word. They don't do it 1,000 times, but they do it many times because it says 1,000. So I hope now that you have this information, you will go back and listen again to Il Bianco e Dolce Cigno.